Maple Leafs forever on the Fired Up.
Hello, everybody. This is Joseph Basic, and welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to Game 7 here at Scotiabank Arena, and welcome to the broadcasting legend, Stormin' Norm Rumack, who hasn't changed his undershirts since the last time the Maple Leafs were going to the Eastern Conference Final against Carolina in 2002. All right, Norm, Game 7, and to your credit, I'm giving you credit. Something must be wrong with me. Game 7 tonight. All right, I'm giving you credit. You said Florida in 7 games.
Yeah, well, I did pick a 7-game series, and my original call was Florida. I'm starting to wonder if Florida, having been to 2 Stanley Cup Finals 2 years in a row and winning it last year, if they're a little bit stretched, tired from all the playoff games. They've been playing all these extra playoff games. Leafs, of course, last year were out in the first round in 7 games, and the year before they lost to Florida in the second round. So Florida's played a lot more games than just about anybody in the National Hockey League, right up there with Edmonton. So I ordinarily don't switch my picks, but I thought Florida's best chance to get back to the conference final was to win Game 6 on their home turf. And it kind of makes me wonder if they're running a little bit out of gas. I'm not saying they're highly skilled. They know how to kind of circumvent the rules a little bit. You want to say they're a little bit dirty? I guess you can say that. A little bit dirty. They remind me of the mid-'70s Philadelphia Flyers, the Broad Street Bullies, who used to break the rules all the time, but they won 2 Stanley Cups doing it. So Florida kind of knows how to play the intimidation game. But I was pleased I picked 7 games, but I might have to.
Now you're staying with Florida. You're not cursing the Toronto Maple Leafs. You're staying with Florida because you cannot. You go Florida, I go Toronto. But I give you credit. The first round, you said it's going to be a tough game. You said, I think you said Maple Leafs in 6.
I did pick 6 games.
Yes.
I said Toronto in 6.
Yes, and Maple Leafs won in 6 games. This year, or this round, you picked Florida in 7. They do go to 7 games. You're sticking by it. I'm not letting you change it because I'm going to pick the Maple Leafs, and I'm going to go further than that. The last time the Maple Leafs were in the conference final was 2002 against Carolina. At the beginning of this, when we did our NHL preview, I said, look for a rematch of the 2002 Eastern Conference Final. And right now, with everybody who lost out in the second round, the Maple Leafs tonight, they win. They get home advantage for the Stanley Cup Finals if they get there. They're the highest ranked seed. Winnipeg lost. All right. So, look, and Winnipeg was the best team in the league. Washington lost. Vegas lost. So the Leafs, if they win, they get home advantage against Carolina. By the way, the schedule came out. The Eastern Conference goes Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. The Western goes Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. You know what I mean.
Well, I'm going to jump the gun a little bit. Let's say your original call was right, and you picked Toronto in 7.
Yes.
What was your original pick on this series?
I said the Leafs beating Ottawa in 6 and Toronto in 7.
Okay. All right. So let's say your pick is right. Okay, and it's Toronto, Carolina. I would pick Toronto in 6 over Carolina. And then ideally, the matchup, for everybody in this country, in Canada, it'd be tremendous if it was Toronto and Edmonton in a Stanley Cup final. It'd be the first all-Canadian Stanley Cup final since 1986 when we had the Calgary Flames and the Montreal Canadiens. That's pretty remarkable how long it's been. Of course, the Canadians won the Cup in 93, but that's different. But an all-Canadian final, we haven't seen since 86.
And also, further to those points. 93, of course, it should have been Maple Leafs in Montreal, if not Carey Fraser, your best friend, Carey Fraser, guy with the hair and everything like that. And also, if you're the National Hockey League and these networks spending billions and billions, what would you rather have? McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman, Burr, the defensemen and everything like that, with Matthews, Marner, and everything all the players. But right now, I'm going to tell you this, and I don't want to say this, but I'm going to say it since I'm the president of the province of Canada, the mayor-elect of North America, soon to run for the mayor of Mozambique. I'm telling you right now, the best team in the league right now as it stands, Maple Leafs. Maple Leafs and Edmonton will be amazing. I have a feeling Maple Leafs could beat Dallas. They could beat Carolina and all that. That series is going to be amazing. I think Bettman owes Canada something. Put it that way. Bettman owes Canada something. By the way, Matthew Knies will play tonight. He will play tonight. And by the way, Max Domi will score a goal. Mitch Marner will score a goal. It's not going to be close. It's not going to be close. The Maple Leafs will win 3-2 and then an empty net goal or something like that. What do you say?
Well, you said it wasn't going to be close. 3-2
an empty net goal makes it 4-2.
That's close. Well, if it's overtime, that's close, Joe.
It's not overtime.
You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. Say it's not going to be close as it's going to go to overtime.
Okay, here. I'll say it. Okay, like I said, the last time they were in the Eastern Conference Final, they played Carolina, and it was 2002. The last time the Maple Leafs won a Game 7 against Ottawa in 2004. All right, the Maple Leafs will win today 5-2. I added another goal. Thanks for adding another goal. I'm telling you, Max Domi's going to score. Mitch Marner's going to score. It's going to be a goal from a defenseman, Oliver Ekman-Larsson. All right? What do you say? Give me your pick already.
Well, what were you saying after Game 5, Joe, when Toronto got their doors blown off?
I said
6-1.
This is a learning
what were you saying then?
Hold on. I said this is a learning experience that will propel the Maple Leafs to the Stanley Cup Finals this year. That's what I said. And if you don't believe me, go back in my brain and it will tell you.
Right. So you didn't think Florida had a learning experience after Game 6, eh?
No, because you know why?
Why?
And you know this. You have a chance to put the foot on the throat, to finish off. Look at Dallas yesterday with Winnipeg. They went to overtime. And by the way, we got to do this. A shout out to Mark Scheifele and the entire Winnipeg Jets organization. Losing your dad, I know what it's like last year and all that, and still playing a game and scoring. But unfortunately, he made the penalty and Dallas scored the goal while he was in the penalty box. I know you want to say a couple words for Mark Scheifele.
Yeah, condolences to Mark Scheifele, his family, and the Winnipeg Jets. Mark Scheifele's a real warrior. What else can you say? I mean, amazing. He can still play under brutally tough circumstances like that. So I think everybody who follows hockey has an admiration for him and would send their condolences, including all the people watching our program. So heads up, you got to love what Winnipeg did. They gave it a good, hard fight, and they'll be back again next year. They've got a great roster. And I know Panthers coach Paul Maurice still has a fondness and speaks highly of him with great respect, and he was cheering them on to make it out of the West. So I'm sure he'll have some interesting words to say about Winnipeg, regardless of whatever happens tonight with Toronto and Florida. But yeah, sometimes I do pick the Leafs to win tonight, but I think it's a close game. I think it's going to be like one of those playoff games where it's 2-1, 3-2, could go to overtime. No one's going to want to take any stupid penalties, so I don't think you'll see any extracurricular stuff unless the game gets out of hand. Then you might, like if it's a blowout one way or the other. All right, but I think we're looking at a close checking game. without any shenanigans. And sometimes in playoffs, the winning goals are fluke goals. It deflects off two pairs of skates or somebody's body or whatever. I think we might see a winning goal like that. It's ideal if you see a pretty goal, like a beautiful play, like a 2-on-1 or a breakaway or something like that. But I think we might see, you're going to see a lot of screens in front of the goalkeepers tonight. And I would look for a deflected goal or two. But I think we're looking at a low-scoring game and a very close game. And like I say, I give Toronto the edge. I think Florida is running out of gas a little bit. That's not an insult to them because they've been to 2 Stanley Cup finals, but that's why they played all these extra playoff games, which Toronto hasn't. So Toronto is more well rested that way. So that's why I thought if Florida could wrap it up, it'd be ideal to do it on your home ice. So I wonder if they're a little bit stretched from all the playoff games they've been playing the last 2 years.
Well, let me ask you a question. Hold on. Let me ask you. You picked, if the Leafs play Carolina, you picked the Leafs in 6. So let's say if the Leafs lose tonight, who do you pick between Florida, Carolina?
I pick Florida. I pick Florida in 6.
So you're saying right now you would say
the winner of tonight's game will go to the Cup final.
Okay, so that's number one. Those are the 2 teams you're picking. Now, later on in the week, probably tomorrow or Tuesday, we're going to do a preview of the conference finals. But just a sneak peek, Edmonton and Dallas. And if you watched Edmonton and Dallas series a few years ago, off the hook hockey, off the hook. This is, again, a rematch of last year where Edmonton won. Who do you call this year?
I like the way Edmonton's playing. They're playing with great determination. I think you talked about playoff experience. I think their Stanley Cup experience last year will bolster them. And that's not a knock on Dallas, by the way. They're a fun team to watch, right? And people used to knock NHL expansion into the States. You watch one of those games from Dallas, I mean, that's football country. If there's ever a state that's football country, there's a lot of them. Florida, Texas, right? There's a whole bunch, Michigan, Ohio, traditional football powers in college and huge NFL following. So, the entire country of the United States is huge on football. But hockey is not outdone. They love their Dallas Stars. The fans get right into it. You can see there's no empty seats. And now that's become a lively hockey market. So NHL expansion into places like Florida and Texas, and now in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is a great franchise, right? And so the Deep South has adopted hockey quite nicely, and the California franchises, when they're playing well, they get great crowds, and so anyway, and the Carolina Hurricanes. They have a nice following. So does Nashville, even though Nashville struggled for a couple of years. But Carolina has like a cult following down there on, as they call it, Tobacco Road, that area around Raleigh and Durham, where college basketball reigns supreme. All right. So, you can I think we're going to see a fun series, but I would pick the Edmonton Oilers to prevail in 6. So, from my perspective, we're either looking at Edmonton, Toronto, which would be ideal, or obviously it would be Edmonton and it'd be Dallas and the winner of tonight's game with Toronto and Florida.
So hold on, you just picked Edmonton, and then you picked Dallas.
I said if not Edmonton.
Okay.
In other words, my pick is Edmonton.
There. It's either Edmonton or Dallas.
It is Edmonton, but they could lose, right? It's not impossible that they lose. I'm saying I pick Edmonton, but either way, we're looking at a great Final Four, right?
Yeah.
So very exciting hockey four with some great hockey talent.
And Norm, I'm going to tell you, the Maple Leafs make it to the Eastern Conference Final. You're going to take the salary that you make on the Fired Up Network, and you're going to go to a game there because the tickets are probably going to be $15,000. All right? So that's it. The only guy I know who does that is Eric Cohen or Norm Jessen. By the way, this week we also have a big week on the Fired Up Network. As you know, Norm knows that tomorrow we have a preview of the conference finals in the NBA with good friend of ours, Tracy Murray. Yes, Tracy Murray. I also have, you know her from ESPN fame, Susie Colbert this week, and Zania is going to preview later on this week WWE Saturday Night's Main Event and AEW Double or Nothing. So big week here on the Fired Up Network. And for those people in the MLSC and every Maple Leaf fan out there, if you want Norm Rumack to MC the Stanley Cup Parade, send me an email, joe@firedupnetwork.ca. Hold on. So send me an email and send me some dollarishkas, and we'll consider you to have Norm Rumack do the MC for the Stanley Cup Parade. And Norm has told me this. He has told me this. If the Maple Leafs get to the Stanley Cup, he's going to even be a bigger leaf blower than he was 25 years ago. Right, Norm?
Well, I don't know about that, Joe. I don't know about
haven't seen the Stanley Cup in like 60 years. Come on. You could turn for 2 weeks.
Well, we'll see when that occasion comes around. But we'll consider the situation when it arises.
All right, consider. And by the way, you mentioned football. CFL preseason begins tomorrow. Yes, begins tomorrow. So hockey, basketball finishing off, and CFL starting out. And congratulations, winning a Hall of Fame nominee, our good friend Carmen Asako there. All right, I'll tell you what. I'm in a mood. If the Maple Leafs win tonight, we will be doing a post-game show. I'm going to try to get even bigger than the leaf blower that you are, Eric Cohen. Maybe some guy who has good hair and everything like that will rejoin us for hopefully this championship run. But if the Maple Leafs win tonight, we will be doing a post-game show. I don't know, maybe 10:30 or whatever. Norm never sleeps. Hopefully Norm can change his tank top because it's celebration. We're going to bring the champagne out. We're going to bring everything. And Norm will eat diabetic cookies. Right, Norm?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have any cookies, but that's okay.
He doesn't know what I said. So, again, Game 7 tonight here at Scotiabank Arena. Probably one of the biggest games in the last 25 years of the Maple Leafs. I see the Maple Leafs win. Norm, even though he picked Florida in the series, he's going to go against the norm. He usually never changes his pick. But I don't know if the Maple Leafs lose, drop Norm an email because it's his fault. It's his fault that the Maple Leafs lose. If they win, of course, it's mine. I'm the president. All right, Norm. Norm, any last comments tonight? Hopefully we have a great game. Hopefully you see how Game 5, every Maple Leaf fan was disappointed. They threw jerseys on the ice and everything like that. Maybe we see the reverse. And if we see the reverse, please, everybody, Yonge Street, near Bay Street and everything like that, don't go mental. Don't break anything. Don't fight. Celebrate, but celebrate greatly. No problems. Right, Norm?
Yeah. We don't want any problems. You don't want to bother other people. You don't want to damage anybody's property. So, yeah, celebrate intelligently. Walk down the street. Enjoy the evening. But make it peaceful and make it friendly for everybody. And allow our great Toronto Metro Police to do their work and guide you safely through your celebrations if there is a celebration tonight. So yeah, do it intelligently and in a nice way, and let everybody get home, in peace, and leave don't do any damage to any property. Don't do anything stupid. I mean, most people, 99% of the people who celebrate the right way. So let's say we hope it'll be 100% of proper celebrations if the Leafs win tonight. Okay, so let's hopefully see that out tonight in downtown Toronto.
All right, and don't forget tomorrow it's a holiday, so you could celebrate tonight, tomorrow, and then there's no time. Tuesday, Game 1. All the games are at 8 p.m. Tuesday, Thursday here at the Scotiabank Arena if the Maple Leafs win. All right. And like I said, if the Maple Leafs win, Norm Rumack will be back here with me, and hopefully we'll try to get some other people on to discuss in 23 years. The last time the Maple Leafs went to the conference final, 23 years ago, and they played the Carolina Hurricanes. That's who's up next if they win. Norm, tell everybody how they could get a hold of you.
Yeah, right here on the Fired Up Network, usually twice a week with Joe, usually on Mondays, sometimes on Thursdays. We have some great guests. We cover all the major sports, including the NBA, the NHL, MLB, footy or soccer if you prefer. So we got it all covered for you, and Joe does extensive work on all the wrestling leagues and all the big matchups. So we got you covered from head to toe in terms of sports, wherever the games are played, wherever the matches take place. So check it out all right here on the Fired Up Network.
And can we get a Go Leafs Go chant, Norm, as we close it out?
Yeah. Go Leafs, go. Go Leafs, go.
Maple Leafs forever on the Fired Up Network.